ESPN presents the 1978 Final Four featuring the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Duke Blue Devils, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and the Kentucky Wildcats. Hello again, welcome. I'm Bob Lee. 1978, the year for basketball to meet me again in St. Louis. Joe B. Hall was the Kentucky head coach, the man who had taken the mantle of UK leadership from Adolph Rupp. Rupp had won 4 NCAA titles. Hall's team that year, 25-2, coming in with another SEC title, the 31st for the school. It was a dream season for Kentucky, and we will relive it in just a moment.
Divided into 4 regions, the Mid-East, the West, the East, and the Midwest. Kentucky was in the Mid-East, with other teams like Florida State, Providence, Michigan State, Western Kentucky, Syracuse, Miami of Ohio, and the defending champions from Marquette University. The top-ranked Wildcats were matched against the Seminoles of Florida State in the first game. The two teams kept the score close at the beginning, but Florida State, with aggressive rebounding and full-court hustle, led by 7 points at halftime. This was somewhat of a shocker. Mickey Dillard, number 22, had a big first half for Florida State. But Kentucky had too much manpower. 6 Wildcats scored in double figures, and this basket by guard Kyle Macy put Kentucky ahead 54-53, and from there on it was all Kentucky. They went on to beat Florida State 85-76. Kentucky's next opponent was 19th ranked Miami of Ohio, not to be taken too lightly. In their first round game, Miami had upset the defending NCAA champion, Marquette University, in overtime. But the Redskins had plenty of problems with Kentucky. Once again, everyone contributed, with 5 Kentucky players scoring in double figures. Final score, 91-69. In the Mid-East final in Dayton, Ohio, number 32 of Michigan State, Greg Kelzer, gave Kentucky fits. His hot shooting put the Spartans ahead by 7 points early in the second half. But Kentucky stormed back. This steal and a breakaway slam dunk by James Lee tied the score 35-all. The final minutes of the game belonged to Kentucky sophomore Kyle Macy. His flashy ball handling wore down Michigan State, and his perfect foul shooting beat them. In all, Macy made 10 straight free throws, 6 of those in 1-and-1 pressure cooker situations. Kentucky beat Michigan State 52-49, and this victory, like the others, was a team effort. Coach Joe B. Hall of the Wildcats understandably was proud.
In every game, in the 5 tournament games that we played, there was a different way we won that game, and it called on maybe a different individual or a different strategy to bring about that victory, and our team was willing to make whatever sacrifice was necessary. And that adjustment, I think, was the big credit to this ball club, was their unselfishness, their ability to take advantage of an opponent's weakness with total disregard to their own personal role.
The Blue Devils of Duke were in the East Regionals, together with Rhode Island, Penn, St. Bonaventure, Furman, Indiana, Villanova, and LaSalle. At Charlotte, North Carolina, a first-round game of the East Regional, and what a game it turned out to be. 32 seconds left to go. Rhode Island, in the blue uniforms, leading Duke 62-61. But Mike Jaminski of Duke goes to the foul line, puts 2 in. Duke now leads 63-62. Rhode Island, however, has another chance. This basket misses, but look at this setup. And the ball goes off the front rim and out of bounds. The buzzer sounds, and Duke gets a squeaker over Rhode Island, 63-62. Great defensive plays by Mike Jaminski highlighted Duke's next game against the University of Pennsylvania, the champions of the Ivy League. 3 times Jaminski blocked consecutive Pennsylvania shots. This occurring in the second half as the Blue Devils rallied to overcome an 8-point deficit. Duke also getting some fine defensive work by Jim Spinarkle, number 34. Here he steals the ball. He also scored 21 points. Another hero for Duke, Gene Banks, just a freshman. In the end, Duke wound up on top. Another close one, 84-80. At the East Regional Final in Providence, Rhode Island, Duke took on high-flying Villanova, a team that had just upset powerful Indiana University. Relying on a fast break that carried them to a 25-8 lead and hitting 65% from the floor, Duke coasted to an easy 90-72 victory over Villanova and advanced to the Final Four for the first time in 12 years. first round of the West Regional, the University of Arkansas got plenty of help from its big three. Marvin Delp had 20 points. Ron Brewer tossed in 19, was deadly from the outside. And the last of the big three, Sidney Moncrief, chipped in with 16 points. The Razorbacks winning it 73-52. Next for Arkansas came the powerful Bruins of UCLA. And once again, Moncrief got the Razorbacks off to a flying start with his driving layup. And then the fancy footwork of Ron Brewer ended in another bucket. Arkansas led by 13 points at halftime. But UCLA came out in the second half with a full court press and eventually narrowed the gap. A driving layup by Roy Hamilton tied the score 58-58. And then UCLA took the lead. Kiki Vandeweghe grabbing the rebound and scoring to put the Bruins out in front 60-58. But UCLA's shooting turned cold, and the Razorbacks outshot the Bruins en route to a big 74-70 upset, perhaps the most important victory in Arkansas history. The championship game of the West Regional in Albuquerque, New Mexico, matched Arkansas against the double-handed slam-dunking Mike Niles and his Cal State Fullerton teammates. Cal State at one time trailed by 15 points, but it turned out to be mighty close. In fact, Cal State took the lead in this jump shot by Keith Anderson. Arkansas then regained the lead on Ron Brewer's long jumper. Fullerton again called on Keith Anderson. He drove into the key, but he couldn't hang on to the basketball. Moncrief recovers for Arkansas, tosses the ball to Jimmy Counts, who scores as time runs out. Arkansas wins it 61-58. Arkansas fans were delirious because the Razorbacks became the first Southwest Conference team to make the Final Four since '56. One more finalist was to be determined at the Midwest Regional. The teams were Notre Dame, Missouri, Utah, Houston, Creighton, DePaul, Louisville, and St. John. Notre Dame easily beat Houston in the first game 100-77. But the Irish had a little tougher time against Utah. This basket by Tom Chambers put Utah ahead 44-43. The Irish, however, kept plugging away and finally won this tough one 69-56, setting up a meeting in the finals between Digger Phelps on the left and 64-year-old Ray Meyer, the coach of DePaul. The Blue Demons kept it close. In fact, trailed by only 5 points with a little over 15 minutes to go in the game. It actually became a two-man battle between number 40, Dave Corzine of DePaul, their scoring leader who was playing with a broken finger, and Kelly Tripucka, number 44, whose red-hot shooting inside kept the Irish in the ball game. In fact, put them ahead 47-46 with less than 12 minutes to go in the game. Notre Dame then scored 11 straight points. The dam had broken, and the Irish went on to win 84-64. A big victory over the Blue Demons from DePaul, putting Notre Dame in the Final Four for the first time in Notre Dame basketball history. And so it was on to St. Louis, to the Checker Dome, where 4 teams were still alive. Notre Dame and Duke were there. Arkansas, too, and those loyal Kentucky fans to cheer on the Wildcats and coach Joe B. Hall.